I'm just so delighted to introduce now Chéri Ballinger. Chéri got her start in film while being discovered as a young girl and placed in the iconic 1998 remake of the Walt Disney classic, The Parent Trap. She has worked in film steadily ever since, with her passion for her second chance at life after suffering from a severe traumatic brain injury that stopped everything and resulted in years of recovery. She is now back to work in the industry as a film producer. Chéri is also heavily focused on her international philanthropic efforts, as well as being on the forefront of revolutionary medical technology. Not one to stifle her entrepreneurial spirit, she is at the helm of several business startups. A coveted international speaker, she is the official U.S. ambassador for the Women's Brain Project in Switzerland. Chéri has vowed to use her background and personal comeback story to bring people hope and to inspire positive change through business and the beautiful medium of film. She is one of the executive producers of, you know it, the recently released movie Roe v. Wade, starring John Voight, which has enjoyed tremendous press and critical acclaim. She's currently working on several upcoming high-profile productions with a desire to have her name and talent associated with films that reflect her passion for life and storytelling. She is a devout Catholic woman. She's actively involved in her church and daily prays the rosary. And even the day of her tragic accident, which was on the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes, she credits Our Lady of Lourdes for sparing her life that day. Her faith is at the center of her life, and her hope is to restore the beauty and tradition of Catholicism in everyday life. Please join me in welcoming Chéri Ballinger.
Wow. Hello, everyone. As she gave me such a beautiful introduction, I just want to thank Vicki and Misaki for inviting me here tonight. And for all of you for making the trip to be here, wherever you're coming from. You know, I shouldn't have had any wine because it makes me a little emotional. Usually I just drink water before events, but you know, Vicki's like, here, we have wine, lots of wine. But you know, maybe it's a good thing because I'm a little loosened up, but it does make me a little emotional. And I have to say too, you know, there's a famous song that says it never rains in Southern California. And actually that's true. So when there was thunder in Mass tonight, I was so excited. I looked at Vicki and I said, oh my gosh, was that thunder? Does it mean it's raining? And I saw, you know, the asphalt outside was wet. So I feel like we're at a slumber party and there's a thunderstorm outside and this is just so much fun. So thank you all for being here this evening. I must be honest, I always used to think I'm not that interesting. So now I travel the world and I speak and share my story and people want to hear it and I'm thinking, wow, I feel so humbled and honored that all of you are here tonight. And I will also say too, you know, my plan was to begin my speech by praying a Hail Mary together. And I didn't realize that part of the schedule was not only singing and saying a prayer to the Virgin Mary, but also crowning her, and she's up here with me tonight. And that makes me feel so amazing because I know that I'm truly in good company this evening, because to have a speaking event like this where I'm among all of you and we all do this and honor her together, I just can't tell you how happy that makes me feel inside, because as Vicki mentioned, and I will elaborate on, I have a great devotion to the Virgin Mary, our Blessed Mother. And she is the one who, as women, and I know we have some guys here as well, we look up to her. She is our model as a woman. And although we'll never live up to how amazing and wonderful she is, we have to aspire to her, because she is truly not only our mother who loves us so much, but she's there for us, and we have to emulate her in every way. And never more in history do we need to do that as women, right?
in good company. So, yes, so a little bit about myself. Let me just tell you who I am. So, my name is Chéri Ballinger, and I am currently a movie producer. I also am an international speaker. I am starting a few businesses. What else do I do? I do so much, I actually really don't have a life. And I really am very, very blessed. Very blessed. And just to give you a little bit of a background, as you know, I'm one of the executive producers of the recently released film, Roe v. Wade. If you haven't seen it yet, please see it. It's available, and I'm going to say these things again, but it is available on all of the streaming services, except Netflix. And you can find it on Amazon Prime, iTunes, all of that good stuff. So please watch it if you haven't yet. If you have already seen it, please share it and spread the word, because that's why all of us are here tonight, right? That's why we're here. And when I was at Mass this evening, I thought Father's sermon with the gospel tonight was so spot on with our evening, because it was all about how Christ said, be prepared. You don't know the hour, the time, the day when he's coming. So be prepared. And all of you must truly know that, because that's why we're all here this evening. Because you know what? We have to help each other be prepared. We are a people of faith, of hope, and with that comes helping one another and lifting each other up. And that's why all of us are here tonight. So I applaud all of you for making the time to come here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So it's true, I was an actress and a model for many, many years. I was raised Catholic. I would consider myself always a devout Catholic. I am the oldest of 6 kids. I have 5 younger brothers. No sisters. And growing up, I was always bigger than them, but now the tables have turned and they're all like way bigger than me, and everyone thinks I'm the baby sister now, so it's really, really good. And it's fantastic though, and for years everyone was like, oh, you must wish you had a sister, and that must be so terrible being with all. Oh my gosh, no. I love it so much. I mean, we have so much fun. But I will tell you something. I have incredible parents, and my mom, we're hearing moms in the middle here. My mom is my anchor. Seriously. Moms are so amazing. And my mom, I truly believe, is a living saint. I mean, with 5 boys, right? I mean, you have to think, right? And we all turned out pretty darn good, so I have to give her credit. And my dad too. But moms are very, very special. So my mom is French. I am a French Catholic. That's where I get my faith. It's my mom's first language. And so I was raised very traditionally French Catholic. My father was raised Protestant and later converted. He's a very good man. And together my parents raised all 6 of us kids. Like I said, I'm the oldest, went to Catholic school my whole life. I am a living testament to how God puts you where he wants you, because, that's not what my talk is about tonight, but honestly, God puts you where he wants you, because I never, ever expected to be working in Hollywood. Just things started coming my way, and all these things started happening. I was in The Parent Trap, Lindsay Lohan's first movie. All of these things were happening in my life. Even after that, I didn't pursue anything. I was working at a golf course, and I was polishing forks one day inside the restaurant, and I was a beverage cart girl. And one day, these people came in with a camera, and they said, hey, would you mind if we videotaped you? We're doing a commercial. Would you mind? And I said, sure. You want an iced tea? And so, I didn't think any of it. A few days later, I get a phone call, and I booked a national commercial for Callaway Golf with Arnold Palmer. I mean, it was so huge. And I got my SAG card, and then eventually after that, I started thinking, you know what, maybe I should pursue this. I can really make money. Maybe this is what God wants me to do. So I did that, and I ended up having a beauty contract with a company that flew me all around the world for about 10 years. And that's how I paid my bills, I put myself through college, and really, I traveled the world. Really, superficially, it looked like I had everything going for me. You know, I was traveling, got my degree, I did all these things, and then I would fly into LA, and by the way, I'm from Southern California originally, and so I was in California, you know, and everything was so great. I would fly in, I would go to movie auditions, and maybe film a commercial, then fly out. Everything looked like I was on top of the world, by the world's standards. But I will say this, I was considered that girl who, oh, she's the Catholic girl, you know. I would be at dinners, you know, in different cities for this beauty contract, and I would look up where was the nearest Catholic church to get to Mass. And so sometimes, you know, it meant I had to leave earlier, and I would go off, and then people, where's Chéri at? Where'd she go? Oh, she's at church, she's at church. But, you know, I thank God for that, and I thank God for my parents, my mom, for really instilling that in me, because despite all of the glitz and glamour and travel and everything, I still tried really hard to make my faith number one. And that's really important, really, really, really important. And I say this only because my mom was so instrumental in that. So to all the moms, if you feel like you're not getting through to your kids when you say, okay, did you go to Mass? Went to Mass? My mom said, did you go to Mass? It matters. Even if they act like it doesn't matter, it does matter. It does matter, and the repetition, it does matter, because that was just in my head all the time, and I went to Mass. So it really did matter. So traveling, doing all these things, everything was amazing. You know what, by all accounts, I was living the life. And then one day, February 11th of 2014, that happens to be the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. And me being a French Catholic, and my parents were married at the parish called Our Lady of Lourdes, and I had just such a great devotion to Our Lady of Lourdes. And I knew that it was her feast day that morning, and so on my way to a movie set, I was doing a major poster for a very major film. I prayed several rosaries that morning on my way to the set. It was like any other day for me. I just happened to like up the rosary ante. You know, I prayed just a few extra than like the one in the morning. But little did I know that that day, my life would change just forever. And I go back to what was the gospel reading tonight, because you do not know the day or the hour. Your days are not promised. This could be your last night of life. You don't know that. You don't know if you're going to be up tomorrow. And that day for me was like any other day. And I had no idea that my life was going to completely, irrevocably change. And it did. So I was on the set, and I was with a number of other models, and at the very last minute, the creative director decided, you know what, let's do action shots in the air. So, okay, not a problem. So they wheel in this trampoline, and it was about, you know, it was quite high, but it was a one-person trampoline, but it was high. And the whole premise was, okay, jump on this trampoline, look straight into the camera, and then free fall down. So act like you're running in the air. And, okay, not a problem. Someone went before me, I was next. Not a problem. So I do it. When I did that, I lost my center coming down, and I fell from about 7 feet onto the back of my head on concrete. There was no padding or anything. It was a last-minute decision that they made, and I don't blame them for that, because it was not, you know, it wasn't going through their minds like to hurt anyone. It was one of those things. And it's funny how, like I said, you don't know when your life's going to change, because for me, that was when my life just completely stopped. I was rushed to the ER, and to make a very gruesome situation shorter, within 48 hours, I completely lost my ability to walk, to talk. I lost my memory. I couldn't move without throwing up. All my equilibrium was just completely off. And it was scary. It was so scary. That's a little bit of a foggy time for me now when I think back about that. But it was so horrific. And I was sent to a neurologist, and they said, you have a severe traumatic brain injury. So, needless to say, it was truly terrible. I was in physical therapy, speech therapy, every kind of therapy you could possibly imagine. And the doctors didn't know what to do, really. You know, okay, you have a traumatic brain injury. Okay, here's a pain pill. Okay. But I had a lot of very female-specific issues. And every month, I was so in such horrific pain that I would be bedridden. And the pain was so severe that I would feel myself like come out of my body. And I did this for 4 years. I was down for 4 years. And it was extra long because the doctors really didn't know exactly how to treat a female brain injury. And believe it or not, in this day and age, that's actually something that research is still being done on. And I learned that really the hard way. So I was on all these different medications and pills, all of these different therapies. And my mom was always so positive. She would always say, it's going to be okay. Cherie, it's going to be okay. All the time, even if it didn't seem like it was going to be okay, because it really didn't. All the doctors said that I would probably never have another chance at life again. Every doctor said that to me. I went from being on top of the world, super bubbly, and such a go-getter and a firecracker, and like everything going for me. I had a serious boyfriend. I wanted to get married and have babies and like do all these amazing, I had plans, so many plans. But that day, everything just goes out the door. Everything I had planned, all the jobs I had lined up that week, all the modeling stuff that were planned in the coming months after that, you know, my family had to scramble and start like, you know, if people would call my phone, you know, I'm sorry, Cherie had an accident, we don't know what to say, you know, we don't know how long she'll be down. It was just, my whole life stopped. And everything I thought that mattered suddenly does not matter. The purse, the cute dresses, I mean, I'm really girly. It just, suddenly those things like don't matter when like all you want to do is be able to feed yourself or walk. But you know what? Our blessed mother spared my life that day. Because the doctors said that I should have died and have not been paralyzed. Because my fall was so horrific. Yes, I had to do physical therapy and speech therapy and everything. But you know what? I'm a fighter. And I learned how to walk again. And you know what? I was not paralyzed. But that is because of her. That's because of her. We have an amazing Heavenly Mother who loves us so much. It's the wine. I get it really much. She loves us so much. And I am convinced, and I speak around the world, and it's nice to be in a room full of Catholic women, but I speak around the world to people who are not Catholic. And I tell them the same thing. You know why? Because she loves them too. She wants them too. She's the mother of all of us. And how blessed are we to know her, to have her. Think of all the other people who don't. To me, that's the real tragedy. the people who don't know her. Because you know what? That morning on the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes, I knew to pray several rosaries. How many other people didn't know that? So many other people. That's why it's up to us, as Catholic women, going into battle. In this year, 2021, we were born for such a time as this. That is my favorite scripture verse, Esther 4:14, by the way. She's a queen, literally. And that is really our motto as Catholic women. We were born for such a time as this. Because you know what? I will be honest, and I'm sure most of you can agree with me, when you read the news, when you hear the news out there, it can be very depressing. And it is very easy to go on a negative, downward spiral. I get it, we're human. It's very easy to feel very negative about the world right now and about what's going on. But guess what? God decided that every one of us should be living in this year, in this time, during these circumstances. So what are we going to do about it?
Amen.
Because we're here for a reason. Now, to go back to my story, I truly do believe that she spared my life. And I tell everyone this, whether they're Catholic or not, because they need to hear it. They need to hear the truth. People need truth now too, by the way. Truth, right? Truth. But those were some really, really dark years of mine. Was I happy and bubbly like I am right now? No. No, I was not. For 4 years is a long time. And what ended up happening was I was in all of these therapies. I would set little goals for myself. I, would learn, okay, like I can walk down the hallway now, and then it went to like, okay, I can walk up the driveway, to, okay, I can walk a little bit farther. So I set little goals all the time. And I was very, determined. I was determined. Even though every doctor said, you know what, probably not gonna, you're not gonna ever be the same like how you were. You're not gonna have really another life again. You're lucky you're here, you know what I mean? Very, very bleak. Very bleak, by the way. So I'm here to tell all of you, if anybody ever tells you that you will never be the same again or you can never do something again, they're wrong. Absolutely wrong. Because the person in charge, the one who's in charge is up here. And he sees and does everything. So I don't even really care what they said to me because I'm living proof of that. Because let me tell you, it was hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. And that brought me into really the darkest, darkest days. But you know what? On those times when I was in bed and I was just breathing with pain, like severe pain, I had this little picture up on my wall in my room. Which, by the way, my parents and my brothers took care of me all of these years. The power of family and people who are like family. I had this picture of the Virgin Mary that I had gotten on a trip to Spain. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture that's on a wooden plaster. And when I was in those horrific times of pain in bed, I would always, my eyes would just always go to this picture of the Virgin Mary. And that always gave me so much solace, all the time. And I say that because it's important what we have around us. So the statues, the pictures, the reminders, what you surround yourself with and who you surround yourself with. It sounds cliche, but it does matter. It does. It matters. And in those really dark times when I was bedridden, I would always look to that picture. And my mom would come in, she would feed me, she'd have to feed me. I had to learn how to do everything again, but my mom would always say, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then of course she'd turn around and she'd go cry in the hallway. She didn't really believe that, but she always said it though. And that's a testament to her being a good mom. So it's important to say these things. And so what ended up happening was I was in all these therapies, I was getting better. Slowly, slowly. I still didn't have my memory totally back. And the doctors were so bleak, and then, once like one pain pill would have severe side effects and I'd have more issues, then they'd switch the pill, give me another one, and it was just an endless cycle of just horrific pain and symptoms and everything you could possibly imagine I went through. So that leads me to like 3.5 years. 3.5 years of this after my accident. And I was seeing a woman a young lady who was giving me therapeutic massages because I was so bedridden so often that, that creates like other problems. So it was just so painful all the time. So at least that was some kind of help, some kind of balm. So of course, she would give me these therapeutic massages, and then afterwards I couldn't move and I would throw up, and then my mom, I didn't drive for 4 years, so my mom would pick me up. And so her name was Riley. Riley would do this for me, and she would see this pattern of how I was after these massages. And she's a good Christian girl, very kind, and she had compassion for me. She felt really bad because after a few months of this, seeing how I was and how, I would give her updates, and the updates were really just like, they're not doing anything else for me. This is how it's going to be for me. It's bleak. This is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. And she had compassion on me. So, and I say this because this is a good Christian woman. By the way, I'm trying to convert her right now. Good Christian woman who, she had compassion. And one day, she said, Chéri, I have a client who is a naturopathic doctor. Would you mind if I gave your information to her and link you guys up? I already told her about you, but I understand if you don't want to talk to her, it's fine. She was very sweet. At that point, what have I got to lose? You know what I mean? Like, of course, I'll try anything at this point because, the future was bleak. There was none. There was no future. And so I was willing to do that. And so my mom and I met up with this naturopathic doctor, and she ran a series of tests on me that all of the other doctors, I'm not bashing any doctors here, by the way, if there's any doctors here, but all of the other doctors, and I went to UCLA, all the biggest places, never did for me. She ran all these blood tests and hormone tests and everything that no one had ever done before. But the reason why, and I'm not bashing doctors, is because the protocols are just not there for female brain injuries. And so she did all of these things that had never been done on me before. I told her what happened. It wasn't just like a random thing. we knew because I had an accident. And no joke, within weeks, my memory started coming back. I started to feel better. My horrific migraines that would take me out of my body stopped. After 3.5 years, I didn't even think when it came to that point, I didn't even think my body could take the pain anymore. I figured I probably just would die one day, just pain. It suddenly just went away because of the things that she gave me. She was an angel and an answer to so many years of so many prayers, rosaries, of masses being offered for me. All because this sweet massage therapist had compassion. Again, women lifting each other up. And this naturopathic doctor, she had compassion on me. And because of her, I was finally feeling like, oh my gosh, maybe one day I can talk to people and have a life again. I saw it was small, it's really small, but it was a glimmer of hope that I hadn't had before. It was never given to me. And suddenly, there was like this light at the end of the tunnel that I never saw. Again, lifting each other up. That's why we're here tonight. It's little things like this. You don't know how you can change someone's life completely. She was just doing her job. But because she was kind and compassionate and had a heart to help, my life now has totally changed. Because there were years when I never would have thought I'd be in Indiana talking. I mean, I've never been here, by the way, to Indiana. Like, it's my first time in Indiana, ever. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. This is where you have the Indy 500. I never thought I would see this place. So amazing.
And you said you love this place.
I love this place. It's so nice. It's so nice. I always thought it was just like cornfields and, you know, and maybe you have racetracks with the cars and stuff, but actually it's so nice. I love it. But you know what? Because of this, I get to be here. I get to travel. I get to do what I'm doing now, which is so amazing. But it's because of that, and wow, how good our mother is. How good she is. Because through all of those years, as dark as it was, and yes, like I said before, I was not this bubbly, happy person then. I was very depressed all the time. In fact, one of the side effects of the pain medications I was taking is suicidal thoughts. And that's the epidemic that we're dealing with right now in our country. And I have so much compassion for everyone because, let me tell you something, it is real. It's real. Because you take these pain pills because you're in such severe pain, but then it changes your brain chemistry. And I had a traumatic brain injury, so the next thing you know, and I'm just paraphrasing because I don't remember this, but my parents tell me that there was this one night where I said, I don't feel, oh, thank you. See, she's always trying to give me wine. Thank you. Oh, so funny. I love Indiana. I love Indiana. So great here. You know, my parents tell me there was this one night where I said, I have nothing to live for. I don't want to be here anymore. And I was talking suicidal. Now, if you had known me before my accident, you would know that there is nothing that could bring Chéri Ballinger down. I was like the life of the party. I don't even know, thinking back, I don't even know how I did it all those years. I would like work for hours. I would go to dinners. I was traveling the world. I was living like, oh, that was so amazing. So amazing. But then to go from that to, I don't want to live anymore, was such a stark contrast. And my parents tell me that the next thing my dad did was he went and he found that bottle and he dumped it down the toilet. I said, no more. But my parents didn't know exactly what to do because there were, like I said, there's just, it's not out there what to do instead of giving pills. Okay, so, okay, wait, sip of wine. You're just gonna get me to tell you everything now. You ask away, right? Okay. So, I see this naturopathic doctor. Suddenly, there's a glimmer of hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel for the very first time, and I'm starting to feel good. My memory's coming back. And by the way, the memory thing, I mean, after a while, my family loved it because every single movie was so new. And no joke, my dad was so excited because like anyone who, my brothers and my mom, if they didn't want to watch a movie with him for like the 100th time, he could watch it with me and I would be, oh my gosh, this is so good. I would not know what's happening next. I was apparently really fun to watch movies with. Everything's new, you know? So my memory starts coming back. And I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. I think Mom, I might be able to drive maybe one day, you know? Just the little things, you know? Like I said, the bag and everything just doesn't matter anymore. Like I was like, can I drive again, you know? And I started getting better. But believe it or not, a few months after that, and this is coming up to like 4 years now, 4 years after my accident, I was finally feeling better. And it was then not earlier, but then, where I had what I call my point of surrender. Now this is not the one. This actually makes me emotional because I guess I'm so stubborn that it didn't happen earlier. But when I was finally getting better, I thought, I don't know what to do with my life. God, you did all this for me. You suddenly made me better. What do you want me to do? I was terrified. I was scared. I was in probably the darkest place. All of those years of pain and everything, okay, I had all that, but it wasn't until I was finally feeling better where I actually was absolutely terrified because I felt like everything had been taken from me. All the things I wanted in life. I wanted to get married and have kids and all these things. I felt like, and I had a boyfriend when I fell, by the way, and all this other stuff. That ended. And all these things happened. And I felt like, okay, what now? And by the way, a lot happens in 4 years. A lot. Suddenly there's a new president. Uber is invented. There was no Uber. I mean, when I was working in New York, I mean, you actually took the taxis. There was no, like, Uber. Everyone's on a dating app. I mean, it was just like, a lot happens in 4 years. A lot happens and changes in 4 years. I had friends literally meet someone, get married, and have a baby all while I was down sleeping and like breathing in pain in bed. A lot changes in 4 years. So suddenly, like all my family, friends, everyone's lives went on, but mine. So one of my nicknames is Sleeping Beauty because it's like I was asleep all those years, and then I finally woke up, and it's like, here I am. And that's kind of what it is. But I was terrified. And I was scared because I had to learn how to meet people again. You have to think, I didn't talk to people. I went from being this little social butterfly talking to where I was stuttering still when I was talking. And my parents tell me I would rock back and forth after a while when I was talking. I was now 100%. And people would come over to me and talk to me like they'd known me for years. And I would smile and say hi. And then they would walk away and I would burst into tears because I didn't know who they were. And I had to relearn how to do everything. So how was I supposed to restart my life? What am I supposed to do? And I remember it very, very, very clearly. Because it was this one night, I was on the back porch of my parents' house. I was sitting outside on the patio, and I looked up at the stars, and I just started bawling. I just started crying. I just let it all out. And I said, God, wherever you want me to go, I'll go. Whatever you want me to do, just tell me what you want me to do now. Because I have no idea why you did this to me. And now you suddenly made me better. And no one knows who I am now, and what am I supposed to do? And I was just bawling, and I remember that clearly. This is not the wine. I remember it so clearly because I was in such a dark place. And I knew one thing, though, is that our Blessed Mother, she helped me and she spared my life. And I knew there's got to be some reason why. I just didn't know what it was. So there's surrender, and then there's like surrender. I had the latter. And I really meant it when I said that prayer from my heart to God that night. Because I was willing to do whatever He wanted. Because I was so grateful that I was suddenly better. Because after years of being told that I would never be, it was just such a new thing for me to even imagine. So let me tell you what happens when you completely surrender your life to God. I'm not even kidding. Within weeks after that night, like I want to say 2 or 3 weeks. My mom gets a phone call, and it's from this woman who started this nonprofit called Pink Concussions. And my mom had contacted her a few months earlier, and my parents were trying to just do their own due diligence on what else they could do to help me get better. I was seeing this naturopathic doctor, and I had this glimmer of hope, and they saw the progression, and okay, there's some hope here. And it's a family thing. I have an amazing family, by the way, in case you can't tell. They're amazing. Amazing mom. Amazing mom. And so this woman calls my mom, and she says, you know what? We have so many girls and mothers and wives and aunts and grandmas contacting us who are talking about the same exact symptoms that you're saying your daughter Chéri has had. And, we're on to something. And she says, I have had my foundation, and we have been invited to the National Institute of Health in DC. And it's coming up in a few months, and I just want to invite you and your daughter to come. I'm thinking, okay. I went from being bedridden for years to okay, we're going to DC and you're going to talk about everything at National Institute of Health. Okay. I was terrified. I was so terrified. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm learning how to talk to the people at Starbucks again. You know what I mean? I was just so nervous, and I went from being bubbling out, going to super shy and super self-conscious, and can people tell? Do people see can they tell, do I have a brain injury? I was so self-conscious about that. It's all up here, right? And so, God works very fast. So this happens a few weeks after my night of surrender. And a few months later, my mom and I get on this plane and we go to DC. And for the first time, I'm dressed up, super nervous. I wore heels, and it was so scary. And I had not done that in years. And very, very exciting. So I go, and I'm up there on this panel with other girls and women, and we all had to share our story. And it was in front of all of these doctors and researchers and everyone there at the National Institute of Health in DC. We had to go through the things and have a badge, and it was wow, I cannot believe this is happening right now. So it goes really well. I share my story, how I got better, what was done for me by my doctor, my naturopathic doctor. And after the panel, there were so many people who came over to talk to me because they have a daughter, a niece, a sister, a friend, a granddaughter who's dealing with all the same things I was dealing with. And they were so happy and grateful that I spoke publicly about what I was dealing with, because it was so female specific. It had a lot to do with my menstrual cycle and progesterone and all of these things, and no one ever talks about it. But for me, it was so horrifically painful. I would never wish what I went through on anyone. It was so awful. And so I took a deep breath and I talked about it up there. And then afterwards I went to the room and I cried. I was so nervous. But everyone came over to me and was asking questions. And they were saying, thank you. Thank you for saying what you said. What's the name of your doctor? Can I have your card? Oh, I'm going to tell so-and-so this. And there was so much hope. There was so much hope. And it made me feel so good. I thought, okay, there's one thing I know. I want to help people. Okay, God, I get it. I get it. You want me to help people. This feels good. This I can see. This is what I'm meant to do. I want to do this. I want to help people. You gave me a second chance at life. This feels right. Okay. So that felt really good. But guess what happened? When I was there was a new foundation that was being formed over in Switzerland called the Women's Brain Project. And they saw me there and heard my story and were so happy that I was so vocal and open about what I went through that they invited me to go to Switzerland.
I was down for 4 years. I mean, it was enough to go to DC. I mean, I could not believe it. Like, I just got invited to Switzerland. I'm telling you, that surrender night, like, I'm telling you, surrender works. And sometimes God works really, really fast. The next thing you know, and I'm not even kidding, this is real life. Real life is amazing. Next thing you know, a few months later, I'm on a plane and I go to Switzerland. And I meet this team of incredibly passionate, amazing doctors and researchers who formed this foundation called the Women's Brain Project in order to advocate for precision medicine, meaning every body is holistic and different, and especially women and men. We're beautifully different, but we have to be diagnosed and treated as such. You can't just like give a pill to everybody and think that that's going to fix things, because it doesn't. And so these incredibly passionate, amazing people started this foundation, and they asked me to be their U.S. ambassador. Okay, all right. And I am to this day, and oh, there's amazing things that have happened since then. This was back in the end of 2018. So 4 years, you know, I was down for 4 years. And then at that moment of surrender, everything started happening. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm helping people, now a U.S. ambassador, wow, okay. This feels good. Okay, God, I get it. This feels good, you want me to help people. So I'm thinking, okay, I need a job though. I mean, okay, this is great, you know, but I guess I'm gonna have to get a job. So I thought, okay, well, let me tell you something. When you've been given a second chance at life, the last thing you want to do is go back into Hollywood. You just don't want to go back into that, like, den, which I was never really a part of, but just the idea, because I was given a second chance at life, I was so just, I wanted to do everything right, because I was so blessed and so grateful to have been given this second chance at life. I mean, I should have been dead if not paralyzed, and I knew that. I know that. So when you know those things, you want to be good. You want to be really, really, really good. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going back into Hollywood. No way. So I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, I got a degree in public relations, communications years ago. So, you know, maybe I should use my degree. Maybe that's why I got a degree all those years ago. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want to talk to people. I can still get really shy and nervous. And so maybe I could do something behind the computer. So I part of my speech therapy that my speech therapist had me do was I had a Twitter account. And that was to help me like deal or, you know, interact with the outside world, because I was just so insulated for so many years. So I was on my Twitter account and I see that there's this movie being made that's going to tell the true story of Roe v. Wade. I thought, wow, finally they're doing something good. That's so great. That is so great that they're doing that movie. Wow, that's fantastic. And not that I was a part of bad movies before, but like I knew what's going on over there. And God, by His mercy and grace, like really kept me like busy and hidden. So I was never part of like the Hollywood thing. But the reality was I was an actress and I was a model, and I did have all these things I did. I just didn't want to be a part of that lifestyle like ever. So I thought, okay, this is great. They're making this great movie. They're doing good things. This is good. And I thought, well, you know, everybody needs to hear words of encouragement. Because I know I do. Because I'm all about, at this point, I'm helping people. I just want to help people. I know that that's what God wants me to do. You know, and He's leading the way. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to send them a message and just tell them, I'm just so happy you're doing this. Because everybody needs words of encouragement and positivity. Again, I get that from my mom. My mom's really positive. Remember, it's going to be okay. So I sent them a message on Twitter. And I said something like, I am so happy you guys are making this movie
good for you guys. If you ever need anyone to do anything on the internet for you, let me know. You know, I'm here on Twitter. I mean, I think back and I'm thinking, oh, that is so embarrassing that I said that. I'm here on Twitter. Let me know if you need anything on the internet. I can't believe I said that. I actually said that. My excuse now forever is I had a TBI, so now I'm going to use it. I'm still going to use that because I look back and I'm thinking, that is so mortifying that I actually sent them a message and said that. But I did, and I had the best of intentions, and I was thinking, okay, I'm helping people. Okay, so literally a few months goes by, and I'm still helping people. I am working with Pink Concussions, so anywhere that they need me to speak, I go and take a deep breath and I talk, and then I am the U.S. Ambassador for the Women's Brain Project. So I'm doing all of this stuff. I still need a job, but I'm thinking, okay, God, you lead the way, because you're leading the way for everything, so you gotta just give me a job. I don't know what you want me to do, but you gotta show me. Because remember, I was just like total surrender. Every day, God, you lead the way. You show me where you want me to go and what you want me to do. And he does. He does. So a few months go by, literally a few months, to the point where I forgot that I sent this stupid little message on Twitter. And I get this email. And it's from Nick Loeb of Roe v. Wade, the filmmaker. And he says, Chéri, I'm so sorry for the delay in the response. I totally forgot about it. But we would love for you to be a part of our film. I looked you up, and let's schedule a call. Okay. And so I get on a phone call with him. One thing leads to another. He puts me in the movie, and I become one of the executive producers of this film. And my parents are like, Chéri, producer? Really? Did you ever think about being a producer? I said, actually, no. It never occurred to me to be a producer. I don't even know what a producer does. And they're like, okay, well, it sounds good. Okay. And so I said, yeah, but you know what? It's a good movie. It's going to tell the true story of what happened, and it's pro-life, and it could save babies. So I'm thinking it's a good thing. And they said, yeah, no, that's okay. You do that. You're, all right, sweetie, that's fine. My parents are just like, okay. And so the next thing you know, I'm on the movie set in Louisiana with Elvita King, and we're in this bus together. Yeah, she's amazing. She deserves a round of applause, Elvita King. I'm in this bus, like this van bus ride thing, and we're together from the hotel going to the movie set, and we're in the deep south of Louisiana, thinking to myself, how did I get to Louisiana? I can't believe I'm here. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, I get excited about everything now, like super excited. But life is a beautiful gift, and I'm thinking, how did I get here? This is amazing. So I'm sitting in this bus with her. We start talking, and she is one of the main producers of Roe v. Wade. And if you've ever heard her speak and what she has done, both politically and really for our country, it's truly incredible. But I had a heart-to-heart talk with her in that bus. And she confided in me that she had several abortions when she was younger. And she felt so horrible about it that she promised God that for the rest of her life, she would spread the pro-life message and do good. And she does. Yeah, praise God for that. Because she has kept that promise. And she is one of the most prolific pro-life advocates out there. And she does tremendous work for God and for our country, and for really sharing the message of the dignity and sacredness of life. But she is such a beautiful example, again, of God's mercy and goodness. And we totally bonded in that van that day, because I told her what happened to me. and how I couldn't believe I was there because I was once told I would never have a life again. I had a traumatic brain injury all these years down, and never thought I'd be a part of a movie again. Here I am, and she goes, Chéri, God has such great plans for you. And we held hands and we prayed together in that bus. And I felt something inside me, just like, okay, I know this is where I'm supposed to be. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mother. So, I had a short scene. It's in the director's cut, by the way. We cut like 30 scenes. But you know, it was the first time ever I was brunette because they dyed my hair, and that was really fun. And you know, it was a small role. It was super fun. I never thought I'd be on a movie set again, and it was just like such a wonderful experience. But what I'm most proud of, though, is helping to make it happen, because I personally invested in the film and became an executive producer. And so even though I'm in the director's cut as an actress, you'll see my name in the credits as an actress. I played, who did I play? Mary, I think. I think I played Mary. It doesn't matter. I'm more proud of the fact that I am one of the executive producers. So, okay. All these things are happening, right? Like after my moment of surrender, my night of surrender. And so I do this movie and I'm thinking, okay, there's something to this. I kind of like the idea of being a producer. And I told my mom and dad, I like this. This feels good, making good things happen. I think that's what a producer does. And so one thing leads to another. I started dating again. I met this guy who's an actor and he had a movie. That didn't go anywhere, but I'm on his movie as a producer, and we're good friends now. But this is a room full of women. I'm still looking. Actually, St. Joseph is totally in charge of that for me. Yeah, because I do not know what I'm doing at all. And it's even worse after like all those years of being down. It's like way worse now. Please pray for me. Thank you. Yes. Because I told St. Joseph it's totally in his hands, and only then, when he gives me my husband, then I'm going to spread devotion to him all the days of my life. But he has to like bring me the husband first. Because I already did that for a Blessed Mother, but I told St. Joseph, you have to wait because you haven't brought him yet. He's working on it. He is. So, but God works in mysterious ways, because I then found myself on this next film. And I'm working on it now. And then because of that, all of these beautiful things started happening, and it's just a domino effect. And I have literally like 5 movies in production right now. And I figured out what a producer does. You know, a producer makes good things happen, or they're supposed to be good. And that's the key, right? Because there's a lot of movie producers, but they make really bad movies. And let's be honest, most films that are made nowadays are just truly horrible. Terrible. It's terrible. And then the faith-based movies are really crummy. Come on. Most of them really are. And the teenagers aren't going to go to the movie theaters and see that. They're not going to go see that. They want to see the latest movie, the latest mainstream movie, right?
Zombies.
Yeah. So I figured out, okay, God, I know what you're doing. Because we can beat them at their own game. How about we do a Trojan horse style, and we put values and goodness back into movies, and then that will affect the culture and society, and we can just beat them at their own game, and do a Trojan horse style, like good movies again. So I figured out that's one of my missions, and it's such a beautiful feeling to know what your mission is. Because the reality and the truth is that I don't just have a story. Every one of you have a story. Every one of you. And we're supposed to share it with each other. Why? Because we're supposed to lift each other up. And now more than ever, when things seem so dire and hopeless, because there's so much negativity, there's so much hopelessness out there, people are feeling just truly terrible. It's our job to be a brighter light in this world of darkness. We are called to be the lights. We have to shine brighter. Don't be afraid to share your stories and encourage others. Lift other people up, our brothers and sisters in Christ, and those who don't know Christ, those who don't know our Blessed Mother. Because like I said in the beginning, how many people don't know her? How sad is that? So one of the movies I'm working on, we're putting this thing where, the guy prays the rosary after like 20 years, and then goes to confession after like 20 years. But it's a mainstream film. We're just going to put these little things in there just to kind of like put it in the subconscious of people. So that, Trojan horse style. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. But you know what? I'm talking about movies, but this is supposed to be what all of us do in everyday life. Whether you're at home and you're telling your kids it's going to be okay. Go to Mass. Pray a rosary. Did you pray a rosary? Let's pray the rosary. Or you're in an office, wherever you meet, the grocery store. You would not believe all of the things that happen to me in the grocery store lines. I don't know what it is, but so many things happen to me. But you know what? God could use you anywhere, and He does. Maybe it's because you have your miraculous medal, or your rosary, or your cross, your crucifix, whatever it may be, and it sparks a conversation, or someone says they're having a bad day, and you say, you know what? This is what I do. I pray this prayer. I have great devotion to the rosary. Obviously, that morning, changed my life. And I'm so thankful. What made me pray all those rosaries that morning? It was because of the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. That was the reason. So many people don't know that. So maybe in the grocery checkout line, and the grocer is checking you out and they're having a bad day and they've never heard about the rosary, tell them. Tell them about it. They don't have to be Catholic, because guess what? That's how we convert them. That's how she works. Say, you know what? There's this thing called the rosary. It's a secret weapon. This is how you pray it. And on that note, Vicki, I should share this story, because I was talking to Vicki about this, and this recently happened, and this is gonna get to you, because this is what I'm talking about. So I have a friend of mine, beautiful girl. She was an actress. She still is. And we did a movie together, like years ago, and we stayed in touch all these years. Obviously, not during my accident, but now that I've restarted my life, and it's just been a few years now, but she got in touch with me, and we got along so great years ago. She happens to be Muslim. So, no matter, right? I work with everybody. I'm in Hollywood. So, we meet up for dinner it was like 2 months ago now. And we meet up for dinner, and just out of the blue, she looks at me and she says, Chéri, I know Jesus Christ is the Savior. I know He is.
Praise be to God.
I'm thinking, okay, yes, He is. And my heart's kind of like, where is this going? Like, where did this come from? I know she's Muslim. Like, why is she telling me this right now? and then she says, can you teach me that prayer you're always talking about with the beads? Oh, the rosary? Yeah, the rosary. Can you teach me how to pray that? Because I know that Jesus is the Messiah. I know He is. And my family, they just don't understand and all, but I know it. I feel it inside. Wow. Right? Wow. So guess what I did? I went out and got a rosary, I got it blessed, I did all these things, getting it ready for her to give to her. But you know what? That never would have happened if I wasn't constantly posting on Instagram stories, pray the rosary or talking about it publicly. Because I mean, I am a devout Catholic, but the organizations that I am ambassador for and all the charity work that I do, it's mostly just, it's secular. It's not any religious affiliation. But again, Trojan horse style, I like to just like say little things here and there, and I kind of like put it in here and there. But you know what? That's how we change the world. That's how all of us can change the world today. That's what we are supposed to do. Because it's tough out there. And we have to bring people to the true faith because we are blessed. We are so blessed. I am so incredibly blessed because I was given a second chance at life, and I know I was. And so every day, I just say, okay, what do you want me to do today, God? And gosh, does he have me busy. He has me really busy. But I will leave you with one other thing. Because when I was feeling sorry for myself, and I was depressed, and I felt hopeless, and then I had to get to this point of surrender, like, what am I going to do? I received a wonderful piece of advice. And that was, instead of thinking about yourself and your own problems and your own difficulties and what you're dealing with, think, okay, who can I help today? So every day, instead of thinking about yourself and your problems, you think, okay, who can I help today? Now I started doing that, and I saw my life transform. Because I was in the midst of starting my life again, and it was really difficult. But instead of feeling sorry for myself, I thought, okay, who can I help today? So I would find someone to help, or someone who was around, and then I would find. And then, you know what ends up happening? Because it's true what it says in the Bible. It comes back to you a lot more times when you start helping. So that is one of the pieces of advice that I would say, is just train your mind. Who can I help today? Be of service. Who can I be of service to you today? Also, pray the rosary. Pray the rosary every day. Don't forget. If it's the end of the day, say it in bed, fall asleep saying it. I do that all the time. Tell people about it. Share it. Make sure you tell your children. Again, this is moms in the middle. My mom is amazing. My mom is amazing. And she had a practice in our house growing up where we had the statue of the Virgin Mary, and it would go to different members, different families in the parish, and there would be the rosary every day. And I don't know if that exists here. Does it? That's a beautiful practice, because it was at my parish growing up. And so growing up, we had this, and all 5 of my brothers, I mean, they all remember this. And my mom's always saying, did you pray? Did you go to Mass? And all of us are, but that's because my mom always it matters. It so matters. And as good Catholic women, we have to be the ones who do these things. It is up to us, because only then can we change the world and make it a better place. And you know what? I don't see these times as bad or negative. I know it's really horrible on the news and everything. But I always think, wow, I was born for this time for a reason. You were born for such a time as this. Like in the book of Esther. She was a queen. You were born for such a time as this. So I don't see these times as negative, because quite frankly, nothing could be as bad as what I went through. So even the lockdown was fine with me. I was not even depressed at all. Everyone's just having such a difficult time, but I was bedridden for years, and I was fine, totally fine. Everyone's like, aren't you really sad about what's going on? Not really. I mean, everything's fine. After what I went through, nothing could be as bad as that. So I'm here to tell you guys, everything is going to be okay. We're going to get through this. The world is a beautiful place, and guess what? Life is a beautiful gift. And that's why I'm so thankful to God, because because my first producer's credit is on a movie called Roe v. Wade that shares the true story of what happened and shares the dignity and sacredness of life. And I said, wow, God is so good that he did that for me. Because now I know what he wants me to do. I know my mission now. So if you haven't found your mission, you gotta surrender. Just telling you right now. Get to that point of surrender. And if you have found your mission, live it with so much spark and excitement for life, because life is a beautiful, beautiful, precious gift. And we are all so, so blessed. And it is a beautiful world that we live in. Gosh, it's beautiful. Like I said, who would have thought? I'm here in Indiana, you know? So amazing. And people say to me, Chéri, you're so excited about everything. I say, oh, yes, I am. You know why? There's a lot to be excited about. So I hope that you leave here tonight feeling hopeful, positive, just on fire for life, because you should be. Because guess what? We have all of the tools. We're Catholic women. Come on. We are queens. We have all the tools to get through this life, to help others, to do good things. Every one of us could think of all the good things that we could do. Think of all the people we could help. We have to lift each other up. So I thank you for being here this evening, for listening to me rattle on. And you know what? My family always says now, Chéri, you were so quiet for so many years. You're making up for lost time. You talk so much now. I can't shut up, you know. But you know, I guess God was giving me a little bit of a break, you know, because now He has me doing great things, and I am so ready for it. So let's all band together, lift each other up, make the world a better place, and remember how beautiful and precious life is. Amen.